Welcome everybody to Thursday Night Live. What a treat, what an honor, what a pleasure, what a gift. And trust me, we'll have some fun here tonight. And when I say trust me, it's gonna be better technically than it was last weekend. I can't believe all you guys stayed, you loved it. But we had some technical hiccups. We worked through it, and tonight is the night, and it will be great. So as the room continues to fill up, let me give you a heads up right now, okay? What I would suggest that all of you do right now, and we've never actually said this actually on any of these, but we thought it's a good idea, is we'd like everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the reason why is because sometimes we actually take some of these videos and we'll post them. So in the future, you can actually get a heads up real quick, because as you know, if you look at patterns and you look at the past few weeks, what have we done the past 3 weeks? Well, we've given 3 awesome Thursday Night Lives, but there's been one constant, and there's been one thing that everybody's raved about, and what they've raved about, obviously, is the gifts. That the gifts have been so incredibly awesome. And we're honored, we're happy, we're thankful. But the gifts should excite you because they're incredible, and you guys are so appreciative. So guess what? You may see more here tonight, and they're worth it. Trust me, they are worth it in every which way, shape, and form. They're incredible, actually. Now, here's a funny thing. I'm going to share something with you privately, or not privately now, but kind of publicly, but something that in essence,
it's mostly older people.
When basically what happened this week,
it's mostly older people.
And what happened was, boy, that's weird, right? When they come on, they're like a little unmuted. So I'm gonna mute everybody again, and then I'm gonna unmute you, Dr. K, of course. There you go, perfect. All right, so something happened this week, which is really incredible. And what happened was, one of the doctors, actually, is very funny. One of the doctors called me, and actually they called our 800 number, and then what happened was one of our team members put the call through, and they were actually trying to reserve a seat for a very, very special training on May 30th. It's called the Chiro Event. If you want to know more about it, if you go to www.thechiroevent.com, you can learn more about it. But what the doctor said was this. It was very interesting. I asked him, I said, you know, how did you even know about it? How did you find out about it? And I honestly thought, actually, I thought he read about it in this, which is the cover of the American Chiropractor. Oh, that doctor looks familiar. Who is that? Oh, there he is. That's Dr. Kaplan right there, holding the spine. So I thought he actually saw it in here. And he told me, he said this. He said, no, he says, these were his exact words. He said, you know, I've been coming to this Thursday night thing. Don't ask me how I got the link. He says, but he said, I saw what you gave away for free the past 3 Thursday nights. And I said to myself, meaning him, this is what he said. He said, I said to myself, if they're giving this stuff away for free, can you imagine what they give away if you come to like one of the live trainings? And I said, well, now you hit it on the head. I said, that's the big idea. And that is really, really the secret to this. So what I want to do here, first and foremost, is I want to share my screen with you guys, all right? Because I want to show you something, and then we're going to go into it. So let's see if I can share my screen. Can I share my screen? There it is. Perfect. All right. So let's do this. Perfect. All right. Beautiful. All right. So tonight, as you figured out, is a very, very special Thursday Night Live. And the reason it's a very special Thursday Night Live is because although many of you got the initial email that said we're going to talk about telehealth, we are. But telehealth in and of itself and by itself is really only half the battle. If you want to do it right, if you want to do it smart, if you want to do it best on behalf of your patients, you want to have the most incredible service. So if there was ever anything with regards to educating you doctors, training you, giving you tools and ammunition that you can hit the ground running with regards to being able to treat your patients correctly, especially the marketplace of peripheral neuropathy. So as we start here tonight, what I would love for you to do is this, okay? First and foremost, I want you to write this email address down, okay? Take out a pen. and write this email down. All right. I'm not giving you a lot of notes here tonight, but I will tell you that this is so vital and so important. Write down newpatientnow at AOL.com. You will see why later. All right. So write that down, and away we go. And as I mentioned before, such a blessing, and it's such an honor that if you go to your mailbox and you open it up and you take out the copy of the American Chiropractor, it was really such an honor for Dr. Kaplan and myself to be featured in this month's issue. And as I mentioned to you before, obviously the doctor who booked that seat this week, and I don't know how many seats are left, but there are a few seats left, I believe. As I mentioned, very few seats remain. If you're curious, go to thechiroevent.com. You can learn more about it and more. If you really want to learn how to take neuropathy and make this incredible for your patients, in addition to a host of other cash-driven services, this is what the Chiro Event is all about. It's in a 5-star location. You can go online. You can read about that. And before we bring on Dr. Kaplan, what we wanted to do was this. Number one, I wanted to save you a lot of time here. So the number one way that we're going to save you time is this. First gift of the night, okay? If you send an email to newpatientnow at AOL.com, I'm going to actually send you the best webinar on telehealth given by one of the featured doctors in the Doctor Success Spotlight book, Dr. Marty Kotler. And Dr. Kotler has been helping doctors basically get reimbursed better than probably anyone in the country. I've known him forever. I've been such a big fan of his. And he did this amazing webinar a few weeks ago, and he gave us a private link to it. So as our gift to you in terms of teaching you, training you, showing what codes to use, how to educate the patients, how to actually handle a telehealth program correctly, then we're going to actually send you the link and you can learn all about it. So tonight, guess what we get a chance to talk about? We get a chance to talk about peripheral neuropathy. Now, I don't know if you know this, but last year, for the first time ever, Dr. Kaplan created a groundbreaking program for chiropractors. It was the first of its kind. It's never been done before in the history of chiropractic. It was taught at a university. It was a 12-hour CEU program on treating peripheral neuropathy patients. And if there was ever anything that was set up for a home care program, it's this. He wrote the curriculum and he put together such incredible content and such incredible training that we felt as a special treat here tonight that for those who unfortunately didn't get a chance to be there live for the national certification, tonight you get a chance to really get a bunch of golden nuggets. And it's such an honor and really such a treat for me to introduce the person who put this whole thing together, the incredible Dr. Eric Kaplan.
Well, you know, behind every great person is another great person. And, you know, I'm honored to have Perry in my life for over 33 years. And I have two of my favorite chiropractors here tonight in Jason and Stephanie. And I think, you know, we started off, he showed you a thing by Marty Kotler, and he talked about telehealth. So let me get down to some of the basics here, doctor, so you understand the world that we live in. The world that we live in today is not the same as the world that we lived in yesterday, and it will not be the same world that we live in tomorrow. B.J. Palmer said, everything that you think, say, or do will affect the lives of millions of people tomorrow. So I see my good friend who I went to college with, that was his resident advisor, Scott Banks, on functional medicine. And Scott, this is very good because, you know, if you look at studies, and everyone who knows me knows that I get into studies very much. The Mayo Clinic came out on the studies on medications. Let's talk about the Mayo Clinic, okay? 7 out of 10 Americans, 7 out of 10, okay, take a prescription drug. So let's not think that chiropractic is the one and only. Now watch this. The average 45-year-old, which I was over 20 years ago, takes 4 different prescriptions. 4. 45-year-old, 4 different prescriptions. Now, it gets unbelievable because the 65 to 69, okay, take an average of 15 prescriptions. An average of 15 prescriptions. Wow. Seniors 80 to 84 take 18 prescriptions. So why am I talking about this? Because part of what we're going to talk about here today is neuropathy. Now, understand this, doctors. 22 million people suffer from neuropathy. 1 out of 5 Americans. And guess what? Tonight, we're going to show you how a lot of this can be treated at home by the patient and by telemedicine. Meaning you can do consults over the telephone. You can do consults over Zoom. You could have them come into the office. But a lot of the treatment that we're going to show you for neuropathy by utilizing some of the research and some of the materials from Patrick Doyle, some of the research from Dr. Horowitz, some of the research from Dr. Burke, the Leonard study, the Fariqui study, we will show you how LED technology, MIRE, how LED can help offset these problems. So, I mean, if you want more peripheral neuropathy patients, I'm going to show you that medical research is showing that it exists. Give you an example. In the Leonard study and Fariqui study, both medical doctors, okay, the restoration of sensation improved, reduced pain, improved balance. Now, balance is unbelievable because we know that so many falls take place. Now, imagine this, doctors. Please understand, 75% of all the medications, the U.S. consumes 75% of all the medications produced in the world, and yet we consist of 5% of the world's populations. We're drug takers. And you guys are sitting there at home and saying, do I go on offense or do I go on defense? How can I activate my practice? So here's what I'm telling you. 1 out of 5 people that are watching you on Facebook, 1 out of 5 people that are going to your website, 1 out of 5 people that go to your TV commercials, they have neuropathy. And it's not just for diabetics. So now that you understand that neuropathy affects all types of people and that you can provide a solution that you can monitor with them at home, they can call in, you can Zoom it, you can do it telephonically, you can put them on a program, you can get them on the boots, and then you can utilize supplements. Scott will tell you, as other people, we can utilize supplements like nitric oxide. We have other products that we can recommend for people that have neuropathy. So imagine that you can do a neuropathy treatment program, you know, and the patient doesn't have to come into your office 3 times a week. You can have them come in once a month if you want. Or you can monitor most of it at home, and Patrick will go through that in detail because not only, you know, as he developed probably the best boot out there in the universe, he's developed also a protocol that he does for people at home. So people that are having, listen, a lot of the symptoms, you know, with polyneuropathy, they can be mild, they can be moderate, or they can be severe. The Cleveland Clinic estimates that 25 to 30 Americans will be affected by million will be affected by peripheral neuropathy. And you as a chiropractor might not be treating this. And I'm saying to you why. The Leonard and Fariqui study, I mean, I love the Horowitz, you know, Horowitz, Burke, and the Carnegie study, which is the augmentation of wound healing. Wound healing takes place by utilizing MIRE, okay? And Patrick will get more into MIRE, but basically what we're using, you know, light therapy in produces ATP, which creates also angiogenesis. Angiogenesis is key. Now, here's the thing that we will give to all of my clients, you know, and it's a gift. It's another gift. Perry has zillions of gifts. Perry is like, listen, if Santa Claus had a middle name, it would be Santa Bard Claus. Santa Bard Claus. That's who he is. He's a giver. And he's telling me all the gifts he's giving away. And, you know, we want to give to our clients and we want to give to non-clients. Why do we do this? What am I selling it tonight? Guys, I'll tell you what I'm selling. I'm selling chiropractic. I'm 67 years old. I don't need to be doing this. I do it out of love. I do it out of passion. I do it out of desire. You know, did chiropractic choose you or did you choose chiropractic? Who the hell knows? But, you know, who would have thought a kid from Jersey City would have ended up being a chiropractor? You know, I brought a little friend with me today. I don't know, Perry, can we show my little friend? Can everybody see this little guy? Now, who knows? Whoa, get back here, you crazy man. Whoa, get back here, you crazy man. Does anyone know what this thing is? This is an anteater. It's an anteater. Look, come on, here's some ants. Now, what an anteater is, it's an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. ANT. Automatic, look, get some ants. Can you see the ant? Look, that's an ant. He just got one. Automatic negative thoughts. So here he is. And now we're going through COVID, everyone has like all these negative thoughts. Oh, I don't want to see patients. Oh, I don't know if my practice is going to be what it used to be. Oh, listen. And then there's going to be the shouldas. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have done this. And people that are doing shooting, stop shooting all over yourself. What I'm telling you is, oh, here he comes again. Whoa, get back here, you crazy man. Anteaters, automatic negative thoughts. You can't let the patients into your universe. You got to eat those ants up. You got to eat them ants up with positive influence, positive thoughts. So here you are that you can do neuropathy. You can do it at home. You can give them home treatment. You can monitor them on the telephone or by Zoom, which you can charge for, as Perry showed you the thing from Marty Kotler. I mean, and you can talk about the Horowitz study, the Burke study, the Carnegie study. I mean, I'm going to tell you that LED lights is not new. This is not different. And Doyle has one of the best ones. I mean, it's an easy setup time. He has the largest warranty. It has automatic turnoffs. It's professional looking, you know, and you can get a better price than anybody else can offer on a comparable boot with a better product. Am I selling the boot? Definitely not. But here's what I'm selling. Again, I'm selling chiropractic. 1 out of 5 Americans, 1 out of 5 Americans suffers from neuropathy. And you're saying, oh, I don't know, can I treat that? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Or guess who's coming? Whoa, here he comes again. That anteater, that automatic negative thoughts. Will they pay for it? Yes, they will. How do they pay? You just bang that thing down. You just hit that thing. And that's the way it is, doctors. This is a chance for you to treat people at home to make a difference. Don't let automatic negative thoughts or ants spoil your day or spoil your life. Right, Dr. Doxy? Come on, shake your head for me, baby. Great smile, man. I'm digging you. Love you, Jason. Love you, Stephanie. I see you both. The point that I'm saying to you is, I mean, you can go into the Leonard study, the Verrokwy study. There are so many studies that we can talk about that shows how Mir, okay, can actually change and rejuvenize. So if we're dealing with 1 out of 5 Americans, that's 1 out of 5 people in your community that are dealing. And Perry will show you later. It's not that the drugs that they're taking, you know, are working. It's not like the neurotonin is working. Many of these drugs, as Perry will show you, are not even FDA approved for the treatment of neuropathy. And yet people are taking these drugs every single day. It's the little things in life that make a big difference. The little thing, doctor, is your attitude. The big difference is whether it's positive and negative. You know, I'm honored to have Perry in my life for 33 years. And, you know, we've seen changes in the profession. 33 years ago, there was no such thing as an MRI. 33 years ago, there was no such thing as decompression. 33 years ago, there was no such thing as light therapy, as laser therapy. I mean, but now you doctors, you know, have such an adage. I mean, John Ziliak's probably one of the brightest men I've ever met. You know, my star, I know John is there and I see him. You know, John could probably talk more about nutrition than anybody else here. And John will talk about nitric oxide. And then you have Sonny, you in North Carolina, Dan, you in California. I mean, and I have Dr. Brockian, who's probably one of the smartest guys I know, who specializes in nerves. I mean, Dr. Caputo from New Jersey. I mean, you guys know, John, shake your head if I'm right. How will nitric oxide help people? Will it help people with neuropathy? Of course it will. Because what we're dealing with is angiogenesis. And angiogenesis lets the body heal itself. It's an amazing thing how we can make transition and changes, and we can do it naturally. And you can do this from your office at home. You can put them on a product. You can get them on the boot. Okay, you can get them on a protocol, and we will help you. Perry.
So I could literally listen to him all night long. It could be like a Jerry Lewis telethon that I'm like a sponge for all, like, I don't know, because he's a golden nugget dropper. And if you're paying close attention, you'll see why. I want to show you, doctors, how the party actually came back to you. And especially during these times, how the party, in essence, is really almost like You know, 2 nights ago, I watched great movie, one of the classics, The Wizard of Oz. One of the greatest movies ever. It's a miracle how they made this movie back then. And there's so many takeaways from that movie, but one of the big ones is the simple fact that she had the secret all along. It was all in the red shoes. All she had to do was click the red shoes together, and you know what happened. Well, I'm telling you, doctors, it's no different for you. And I'll prove it to you here tonight. I'll prove it to you in the sense that neuropathy is something that, and let me see if I could show you actually some slides on it so you can actually see this. And we can come back to that one because I love that one. And we'll actually send that to our doctors if you don't have it. This should be in every neuropathy package that you present to a patient, because I'll guarantee that there's so many of your patients that are taking these drugs. And look at the top, especially Lyrica, Neurontin, you know, drugs that are Cymbalta that claim to treat it, yet at the same time, research shows that it could actually cause it as well. Now, what I'd like you to do is we want to give you some gifts, and we want to give it, but at the same time, we want you to step up to the plate here a little bit, and I'll prove it to you here tonight. So neuropathy is really something that a lot of chiropractors have dabbled in for years. And when I say dabbled, what I mean is you go to 10 different chiropractors, and I'll guarantee that they are using 10 different methods to treat neuropathy. And the problem with that is, in essence, that it is not tangible and is not always reproducible. So let's roll the clock back and how history repeated itself, because in 2012, they asked Dr. Kaplan, they said to him these words. They said that, you know, a lot of doctors, a lot of chiropractors out there are treating spinal discs, and they're doing it through non-surgical spinal decompression. Would you be able to put together a curriculum based upon medical research, based upon clinical results, based upon science, to be able to teach doctors how to treat discs correctly, so it's no longer, and this was the term they used back then, the term they used was called the Wild, Wild West. So here we are, 8 years later, and you have chiropractors that if you ask them, do you treat neuropathy? They're going to say yes. However, if you ask them privately, they're going to say, you know what? I'm not really confident in it. And as a result, it feels like the Wild West. So the worst thing in the world is not to be able to have conviction, really to not be able to have really what we would always call the big idea. And when you have the right tools and you have the right training. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to go to nervassociation.org, and I want you to sign up for a membership here tonight. And if you do, I'll show you some of the coolest things in the world that you'll be able to get your hands on, www.nervassociation.org and more. Now, gift number 1, or number 2 actually here tonight. Now, there was a book, 250 pages that was created for
No way.
training. Way.
No way.
Way. It's like it's a Wayne's World thing. It really is. I think that's from Wayne's World. Garth. Well, the book is thick like crazy, and it's got forms in it, like great intake forms, and it's got so much. It was only given away one time. Well, for doctors that are able to join the Nerve Association tonight, you'll be able to get your hands on this. Now, what they did was they limited it to the first 15. In other words, if you're the first 15 doctors that are able to get a membership, www.nervassociation.org, you're going to get this book emailed to you immediately. Immediately, it'll be in your inbox, okay? So you can go through it this weekend, and it's incredible. It really, really is. That brings us to something that if you look at, and if you're sitting here at home and you're saying, gee, I'm digging this, I like it, I love it, I want more of it, but what exactly should I be doing to treat neuropathy? I use adjustments, I use a little nutrition, maybe I use a little laser, all good. But there's actually a better program, and the program that we found based upon science, based upon medical research, based upon clinical results, is 3 things. One, we're going to focus on here tonight for home care. If it sounds familiar to you and you say, wait a minute, I know where they're going with this. I've seen this before. Well, you're onto something. And what you're onto is this. If you know us for anything, you know that we believe in the power of the brand. Case in point, if you look at the #1 most popular group of spinal disc centers in the country that are known as Disc Centers of America, over 155 of them as we speak today, that are branded, not a franchise, a gift. In other words, if you're a concierge coach's doctor, you don't pay a penny for that. It's not, so in other words, you get it. Well, guess what? You also get these brands, and the brands are known as NeuroDoc and Neuromed Neuropathy Treatment Centers, because there's a whole rhyme, reason, purpose, and there's a whole system behind this. And the system is based upon 3 things. Number 1, it's based upon electroanalgesia. Number 2, it's based upon laser therapy. And number 3, it's based upon LED boots. And here's where the party begins tonight. And the reason why is because although there are a number of different types of boots out there, after you pull all the layers back, you're going to find that there's one that was built for the distance and was built for the long haul. And it comes from a company known as Neurolight, which you're about to learn here tonight. The reason we fell in love with this, after doing extensive diligence, flying all over the country, flying out to California a couple of times, having a number of meetings in Palm Beach, in San Francisco, and learning as much as we can about this, we learned that there's really a treatment that is so far and away better for home care than anything out there. And it was really created by a really super, super talented dude named Patrick Doyle. And before I speak about him, Dr. K, would you like a little bit to maybe share just a little bit about Patrick Doyle before we bring him on, and actually where we can dig into exactly all the kind of the mechanics of the boot and how to do this at home and how to bill for it and all that good stuff?
You know, it's a very funny thing. We met Patrick out in California. We were doing a seminar in San Francisco. And Perry said, we have a meeting with Patrick Doyle. And after doing a meeting, Patrick, no offense, I said, Perry, you take care of the meeting. I don't want to do it. I'm tired. And then we walk into the bar, and who comes in? Robert Redford. That's Patrick's nickname. And he brings in a boot, and he shows us this boot. And a 5-minute meeting turned into probably an hour and a half meeting and beginning of a relationship, because it was probably the most professional looking boot. Now understand, as I talked about angiogenesis, because light therapy, which does angiogenesis, is a physiological process where new blood vessels form from pre-existing vessels. Now understand that 87% of all fractures are due to falls. 1 out of 5 will die within 5 years following a hip fracture. And here we are, my son Jason, you and Stephanie in Florida, you're dealing with these people and they're scared. Listen, if you're scared, Julio, if you're scared, Dan, Sonny, Umberto, John, Mark, you don't think the patient is scared? You don't think they're going to come to you? So now they're home. They got neuropathy. They're sitting in front of a TV. They don't feel good. All right. They got burning. They got itching. And you have something that you can provide to them through telemedicine, which we gave you a webinar, which you can bill for. You can charge them for the boot. You'll get a better price than any other boot company out there with a better boot. Why? Because Perry and I, listen, I'm flattered that I was on the cover of the American Chiropractic magazine, but you know what? If you read the article, you will learn what Winston Churchill said. You make a living by what you get, you get a life by what you give. Doctors, Bill Scalise, okay, Brandon Manson, Jennifer, what is your Mascaro? What is your legacy going to be? How will people remember you? How will your patients remember you? Okay, will they know that you came in and you brought in something like nitric oxide? I mean, nitric oxide, it's a vasodilator. I mean, and that's what we do. So we talk about that. We talk about electroanalgesia. We talk about laser, you know, things that you can do in the office. But you know what? A lot of this can be done, and a lot of this can be provided at home. And that's the secret to the success. So, you know, when it came to Patrick and we started talking about mitochondria, and we started talking about ATP, and we started talking about angiogenesis, I realized, you know what? He wasn't just good looking. The guy knew what the heck he was talking about, which is very rare in today's world. So, Perry, if you want to turn it over to somebody that, you know, really caught my eye and got my attention, and Jason, you and Stephanie know, I don't give my attention so easily. I mean, I have attention deficit disorder. I have ADDD. And Patrick, you had me at hello. So Perry, let's talk to Patrick.
You bet. It's our honor, our pleasure to bring on the brains behind this incredible tool that was designed for home care neuropathy treatment, the best of its kind. Patrick, welcome to Thursday Night Live.
Great to be here.
Beautiful. So if you would be kind enough to give just a little background on it, and I don't know if you have a model with you. I do have a couple of slides that I could show as you start to talk through it, but the floor is yours, and I would love for you to go over, in essence, really what I would want. And remember, if I'm sitting on this video conference right now, please understand, with all due respect to all the doctors, I'm a skeptic. I was born skeptical. In other words, you got to prove to me something works through and through and through. And after I do my diligence and my exhaustive research, then I'm all in. I'm not 50-50, I'm all in. And I looked at the playing field out there with Dr. Kaplan, and we were just not impressed with the playing field of LED therapy. And I got to give it up to one doctor on this video conference, one doctor. And that doctor is the incredible Dr. John Ziliaks, who Dr. Kaplan mentioned, because the reality was this. It was Dr. Ziliaks and his genius that sent me a picture, Patrick, of the Neurolite boot. And he showed me a comparison amongst your boot and what else was out there. And my mandible dropped. My mandible literally dropped. I said, no way. I said, Ferrari versus a Volkswagen, night and day. And that's why we were so excited. Would you kindly take the floor as long as you need to here tonight and share why, for the skeptical chiropractors out there, like myself, why this was such a game changer for the treatment of home care neuropathy?
Okay, let's just talk a little bit of the history of this. I've been involved in this business since 2003, the devices. And I was involved in manufacturing the folding rubber devices, and they worked and they delivered outcomes and all the things that you would expect. But I didn't see this from a clinical perspective until, I guess it was 3 years ago. We opened a clinic in Reno, Nevada. And once I actually started to have to use the equipment, I said, there's a better way to do this, a much better way to do this. And so I started looking at the problems. I looked at the amount of physical cables. I looked at the difficulty in putting the device on and off the client. But the clinic brought me another perspective as well. And some of the perspective was, what are the challenges around how do I bring the clients into the clinic? How do I deal with the no-shows? All the things that you're very familiar with. And so I looked at this from a clinical perspective and said, let's figure out a better way to do this. So the first thing I did was started looking at the device itself and what the problems were and what we needed to do. And so as you can see on the screen here right now, I believe everybody can see this. We needed to treat the plantar aspect of the foot as well as the calf. The calf is probably more important than the plantar aspect of the foot because that's generally where the problem begins, and it manifests in the foot. So when they come in, the patient complains about my feet hurt, or I have no sensation, or whatever it might be. But that's simply where the problem manifests. And if it's a chemotherapy patient, it could be their hands as well. So what do we do about this? So we set about, took me about a year to come up with this, and so I had to eliminate the cables. That was the first thing. The common problem in the past was the cable would pull out or would rotate and break off. So I fixed that problem relatively quickly. But then how do I make it easy to use for the patients? So we had to look at how do they step into it? How do they step out of it? We created a video around this, which I'm sure that we'll be able to share with you later, which shows you it takes about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 seconds to have the patient either do it themselves or do it in the clinic. One of the big challenges we ran across, I don't know, a couple of years ago was the amount of no-shows. I call in, they make an appointment, they come in, and then they wouldn't show up. So I had to solve that problem. One of the reasons that they have a high degree of no-shows is that most of these people are old. Yeah, they're 65 years or older. Not all of them, but I would say 90% of them. Some of them have trouble driving. That's caused by neuropathy. Some of them have trouble finding someone to give them a ride into the clinic. It might be snowing outside, so they don't want to go. Today, we have a whole nother set of problems that they either cannot leave the house or they don't want to leave the house. So how do we solve that? So a couple of years ago, we started working with the local tribe here in Reno. And we found that the tribal members did not want to leave the reservation and come into the clinic. And so we started this home care program. And unbeknownst to us, we kept all the patient records and data. We sent it to a biostatistician. And the biostatistician ran it through the numbers and said, all right, what happens? What we found is 93% of the patients improved. That's a good number, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot. How much did they improve? They improved 77% on average. That's a really good number. So what we did was we monitored these patients for compliance, and we found out what they did and what they didn't do. And then we were able to extrapolate that and turn that into this new device that we created that just solved all the problems. So in short, the home care program was really born out of that. So if you have patients that are challenged, like these patients are, getting into the clinic, you need to have another option. That was the first part. Now, in the last couple of months, obviously, this pandemic has set in. Hold on, let me turn that off. And
no phone calls, Patrick.
No, I got it off. And the pandemic set in, and now we have another challenge. These patients actually were canceling their appointments. I can't come into the clinic because I can't leave the house, or I'm told not to leave the house, or I'm a high-risk patient. So you look at neuropathy care, generally speaking, it's a diabetic, not always, but generally speaking, I'm a diabetic. Generally speaking, they're either clinically or morbidly obese. So they have all the hallmarks of being the highest at-risk patients there are, in addition to all their other comorbidities. So how can we solve that problem? So we set about thinking, all right, can we do telemedicine? Yes, you can. So how do we do this remote assessment? So we developed this guide, which I just actually finished today, on what it takes to do a remote assessment. So the patient doesn't need to come into the clinic at all. And we have 7 sensory tests, just like the 7 sensory tests we would do in the office. So we send them some disposable equipment, and we walk them through the test procedure. They give us a score, and then we were able to tell the percentage of loss or what pain level they have, because that's generally the two things. Percentage of loss is usually the biggest indicator. So then we make a decision from that particular point. Is this patient a candidate? So what do we want to know? We want to know 2 things. 1, why they have it. That is the number one thing. So can we work with this patient from a cause perspective? The second thing we want to know is how severe is it? Because if someone has maybe greater than a 90% loss, that patient will be very difficult to bring up to even 50% loss. And so they may not be a candidate. So once we've answered those 2 questions, then we're able to enroll the patient into the home care program. We send them everything that they need, and they do it. Now, 4 to 6 weeks later, we're going to come back and we're going to reassess that person again. So we're not doing a diagnosis. They already know what they have. For the most part, they don't come in and say, my feet hurt, I have no idea why. They come in and say, I've had neuropathy for 10 or 15 or 20 years. So we're doing a remote severity analysis is what we're doing. And we'll use the first severity analysis as the baseline. And then 4 to 6 weeks later, we'll do it again, but we'll compare that against that baseline score to see where they've improved. Many patients forget how much pain they were in or what particular things they couldn't do. So we have a checklist. What's wrong with you today? Then what's wrong with you now? Where have you improved? And point that out to them. Like I said, the statistics don't lie. This is very, very successful, more successful in metabolic than it is in, say, compression-related neuropathy. But that's where this group comes into play because they have the decompression capability, whereas those patients in the past may not be candidates, but now they are. So if you look at the 3 groups you have metabolic, you have idiopathic, and then mechanical or compression-related neuropathy. Metabolic is absolutely, you can sit there and tell these people, I can help you without a question of a doubt. Idiopathic, a little bit more of a challenge because you don't necessarily know what the initial cause is and they may or may not respond. So essentially, if you can solve this through vasodilation, this will work for them. And you can sit there and speak to them with absolute confidence. Perry or Eric?
Sure.
Patrick,
So
the
one
question
quick
I'm gonna
thing
ask you,
here.
I'm going to get right to the point. So, you know, I'm speaking to Perry Kaplan-Bard, and the question I'm going to say is, you're talking about the remote assessment. So people that would like to get that remote assessment that are here tonight, and people that look into, you know, would you provide that remote assessment?
We just completed. It's an online tool.
Wonderful. Will we be able to get it?
Absolutely. What it does, it goes to the seven. I might be able to share my screen. Hold on, and you might be able to see this. Let me see if I can get this done. No, I can't.
You don't have to do that. You just have to just say.
So what it is
if they'll contact Dr. Bard, they'll be able to get. You know, here's the way we work.
Yep.
Listen, doctors, why are we here tonight? Thursday Night Live. We do this every week. I brought a special guest. He'll talk later. I even have the president here tonight to say a few things, you know, later about making chiropractic great again. Donald will speak to you later. Okay, can't wait. Okay, so anyway, now that the president has stopped in, understanding that we want to do these things, what we're trying to do is, the bottom line is this. Imagine this, that 22 million people suffer from neuropathy, and as Patrick knows, watch this, doctors, 15 million are not diabetic. 15 million are not diabetic. John Ziliak's one of the brightest guys that I've ever met will tell you. So we know what the common causes are. Common symptoms are tingling, pins and needles, sharp stabbing pain, dull aching pain, cramping, burning, extreme sensitivity, numbness. Almost sounds like a decompression case. And guess what, doctors? Many people that have neuropathy also need decompression. But the beautiful thing with neuropathy, imagine, doctors, if the patient had to come in once every 2 weeks, not to start this program and utilize Patrick's remote assessment where people can contact you. You could do it telephonically and get them on the program and charge for it. And any of my clients that call us, we can tell you what to charge. I mean, people that want to learn what to do, come to the event. That's what we do. It's a one-day MBA. We teach you about the business of healthcare. We teach you how to sell it. We teach you how to promote it, but we also teach you the power of the brand. So what I'm saying is, listen, Perry showed you all the drugs. He showed you about neurotonin. He showed you all the drugs that do not work. Matter of fact, many of the drugs that he showed you actually can cause neuropathy. So people are taking medications that are causing the symptoms that they have. This is an amazing time for us as chiropractors, because imagine as we can deal with this remotely. And for all my doctors, I'll tell you, how do I start? I would be on Facebook tomorrow marketing for neuropathy. I'm talking about a home care, telemedicine, home care program. And you know what? If they have to come in once every 2 weeks, Patrick said it very eloquently when he was dealing with the reservation. And he said, a lot of older people They don't, doctors, where did 3 times a week come from? Was it James Parker? Was it Sid Williams? Was it Perry Bard? Maybe it was all of the above. But the point is, not every patient needs to come in 3 times a week. With certain technology, they can be doing this at home, and you could be monitoring them and reviewing with them in a 5-minute, once-a-week call. Are you utilizing the light therapy? Are you utilizing the nitric oxide? Are you taking the supplements? Are you doing the exercise? And we can talk about anything from rebounding on down. We have diagnostic equipment, very inexpensive, that does balance. 80%, 87% of all falls, 87% happen to people. Okay, it's one of the leading cause of death in elder people. And you doctors at home can make a difference. It's just amazing what we can do. Cause of peripheral neuropathy could be daily alcohol intake. Well, that makes me liable for neuropathy. What about vitamin deficiencies? John, you know this. B1, B6, B12, vitamin D. Do you know why dogs, people do not get neuropathy? Because they produce vitamin C. So we know that vitamin C is a treatment that we can utilize. There are so many things that we can do that of 22 million Americans, 1 out of 5 people, and listen, we can talk about Cedric the Entertainer. We can talk about 87% of all fractures in the elderly are due to falls. 87%. And we know that 1 out of 5 seniors die within 5 years following a hip fracture. 1 out of 5 die. And what if you can prevent that? And the Horowitz study, the Burke study, the Carnegie study shows that you can prevent it. It shows you that by utilizing LED therapy, you can prevent these problems. We'll send you the studies. Nothing that we do with This Centers of America, nothing that Perry and I do is not medically researched oriented. So I'm going to tell you, you can deal with the ants. Oh, they're everywhere. Oh, no, I don't know if I can do it again. But oh, no. Or you can have positive thoughts, positive reinforcement, okay? Keep it simple, okay? And deal with the facts that we as chiropractors are giving it. The Perot study showed that how we dealt with the flu better than anyone else, that we increased the immunity system, an adjustment increased the immunity system by up to 200%. I mean, so when you realize that we can increase the immunity system, we can help people with neuropathy, and a lot of this we can do through supplements. A lot of this we can do at home. Some of this we can do through telemedicine. Here's what we try to do at This Centers of America. Here's what we try to do with conscious coaches, doctors. Let me open up another door for you. What is one patient worth for you? One. If I can give you 1 neuropathy patient a month, it can be worth a minimum of $3,000 to $4,000. Now, let's say 4,000, okay? Over a year, that's $48,000 with 1 per month. That's almost 4 times what you'd pay us. So you know what? You can come to these webinars every Thursday night live. Here we are, and joined by major politicians throughout the world. I'm here. Let's make chiropractic great again. I mean, we have the biggest people on these events. Or what I'm saying to you is, okay, you can do this or come to the event. We have one in May. We have one in July. We're changing this profession 1 patient, 1 disc, 1 nerve at a time. I mean, imagine that we can make such a difference in your life. Imagine that 15 million out of 22 million do not have diabetes. I mean, this is an amazing thing that we can do, and that we're doing it every day. So many of the medications, addictive medications with harmful side effects, are not treating it. And like I said, 75% of all the medications in the world are consumed by the United States, and only we consist of 5% of the population. The world is going to live in fear going forward, doctors. We won't, I mean, the world will open up. The president is talking about it. They're talking about re-engineering the economy. But you know what? I'm going to tell you what your practice was 6 months ago. It's not going to be 6 months from now. You're going to have to develop a different strategy. One of the things that I've done throughout my career, and Perry and I talk about this every time, is the intelligence is the ability to adapt to your environment. you must understand, doctors, the days of seeing 100 a day or 300 a week, those are going to change because people are just going to be scared. But imagine if we can do decompression, and imagine if we can do neuropathy, and we can do half of the treatment at home, and people will pay you cash for this. Cash. And you can prevent them from having falls. You can prevent them from having so many of the major problems. Everybody has to understand that, as I said, the Mayo Clinic studies show that the average person, 45 years old, takes 4 different medications, 65, 7 to 10. And here you are saying, oh, don't do drugs, chiropractic first, drugs second, surgery last. Well, do you believe it? If you believe it, doctors, let's put it into motion. Let's get it going. Okay, because I'm going to tell you, damaged nerves can heal. We know this. MIR is a real thing. Angiogenesis is a real thing. We know that we can reprocess. We know that we can re-engineer, and we know that we can heal. You know why, doctors? I'm going to tell you something that we all know. The power that created the body has the power to heal the body. And if you don't believe it, get off this webinar and get out of chiropractic. Because I'm going to tell you, you'll be easier selling cars in the future or working at Publix, because Publix will always be open. It's amazing. Once repaired, peripheral nerves can regenerate and grow. Did you hear what I said? Once repaired, peripheral nerves can regenerate and grow. Wow. And we're doing it naturally, doctors, without drugs, without surgery. We're utilizing technology. You know, Perry and I, we talk about concierge coaches, and we say, what are the difference of concierge coaches? Our moniker is with touch and technology come together. See, you know, Perry loves my little things. You can be a thumbs up person. I'm a thumbs up guy. Or you know what? You can be sitting on the sidelines saying, Mommy, no one's coming into my office anymore. Will you help me anymore? I'm a thumbs up guy. I'm not listening to this stuff. I'm sitting here with the President of the United States saying, let's make chiropractic great again. Let's get into a natural approach. Let's understand that we can do these things. What do you think, Mr. President? I think it's a very good thing. Let's make chiropractic great again. I mean, it's amazing, all the guests that I've had here tonight, Patrick Doyle, the president, John Ziliak, Kaplan-Bard, and we know that we heal, and we're talking about research from Harvard. We're talking about the European Journal of Neurology. We're talking about the Mayo Clinic. We're talking about that we know that we can see differences every day, that we know that the effects of neuropathy can change, that Lyrica, Cymbalta, and neurotonin are not the cure.
All right, did we lose him? I think we lost him. All right, your signal, I'm going to take over because your signal.
Go ahead, BP. Take over, baby.
Shot. So this is a business meeting. If you haven't figured it out, this is a business meeting. So let's talk about the business of neuropathy. And if we're going to talk about the business of neuropathy, first and foremost, the simple fact that all of us here tonight, live, share in common one thing. What do we share in common? We're all on a Zoom meeting, right? So hint number one, can you do a Zoom meeting for neuropathy for your patients? Well, the answer is emphatically yes. That's number one. Number two, if you look at the playing field, and one of the things that drove me nuts for years was when a patient would present and they'd come in with back pain, leg pain, numbness, sciatica, tingling, pins and needles, radiculopathy, loss of balance, temperature disorders, and so much more. Question number one, is it a bad disc or is it a bad nerve? Now, how cool is it to be able to explain that to a patient? In other words, to be able to look a patient in the eye and let them know exactly what you're thinking. In other words, to answer their questions before they ask them. And to let them know in your clinic, doctors, that Mrs. Jones, it appears based upon your history, based upon a review of your evaluation, that this is a circulatory problem. In other words, we feel there's a good probability you've got a problem with circulation. Now the question is this, Mrs. Jones. Is it a problem with nerve flow? Or is it a problem with blood flow? Question number one. Question number two is, are you in the right place? Well, I've got good news for you, and I've got great news for you. Here's the good news. The good news is that in our office, that we've been treating these conditions for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, however it is, fill in the blank. And based upon our experience, based upon the science, based upon the technology, based upon the medical protocols here in our office, and based upon our results, that if it is a circulatory problem, you're in the right place. That's the good news. You want the great news? Nod your head if you want the great news. We're going to make it affordable for you. Is that fair? You bet it's fair. Now, there's a lot more to the story. And in terms of verbiage, communication, or what we call the bridge, how do you bridge from a new patient to an existing patient? In other words, how do you create relationships? Well, that's what the chiroevent.com is all about. And it's so cool to be able to look at the list of doctors who are hanging with us tonight. And what a cool doctor, Dr. Calvin George. Well, congratulations, Dr. George, on securing a seat. They showed me the list, and your name was on the list. And I think you just grabbed the seat like 2 days ago. So congratulations, you're in for a treat on May 30th. We can't wait to meet you as well. Number two, that when we think about the business of neuropathy, we're thinking about, in essence, obviously these are cash cases. Now, the most common are 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, and more. There's a right way to package it. There's a right way to promote it. There's a right way to overcome objections. There's a right way to create a relationship. And so much of that is based upon, number one, your training, and number two, your technology. So what I would love for you to do, Patrick, is this. I have a few slides. If you could just, as I go through a few slides, one of the things that I did here for you, and you were so kind to do this for us, and I think it's one of the gifts tonight, which I think is kind of cool, is you actually made a really, really cool video for the doctors that are here. And it's a video that basically, in a nutshell, asks and answers so many questions. So what I would love for you to do is I'd love to bring you back on and explain, in essence, a little bit about, because what I did was I grabbed some screenshots, as I think I told you this, instead of showing the video, because I didn't think the video, I was concerned about the connection, as you can see. Would you be so kind as to speak a little bit about some of the basically what's on the video and what you'll send these doctors at no charge, obviously. Would you do that for us?
Okay.
Perfect. And then we'll get into some gifts here tonight, which I think will be pretty incredible. I'm psyched. I'm pumped. So first and foremost, would you talk about here, and this was the first shot that I actually grabbed from the video. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Okay. Robin set up the company and came to me and said, you know, how do we do this? And I had a lot of experience in this area. And one of the things that I said from the beginning is, what is a differentiator? What makes us different than anybody else out there? And the big takeaway here is that we marry the what, the device, with the how-to. So think about hardware and software. Apple makes hardware, somebody else writes the software. And we needed to marry those two together, because if I simply said, here's the device, this is what you could do, that's one thing. If I said, here's the device, this is what we've done, and this is how you do it, that's a whole different ballgame. You now understand what it takes to incorporate this into your practice.
So
right?
Light, in other words, basically similar to laser, but different. If you can differentiate, because if I'm sitting on this webinar, teleconference, video conference, I'm saying, okay, I get it. They use electroanalgesia in the NeuroMed NeuroDoc program. They use electroanalgesia, they use laser, and they use the coolest LED boots on the planet. Laser obviously acts as a magnet to blood. Can you talk a little bit about how LED heals the tissue?
Right. LED actually works exactly the same as lasers because they're both delivering light. So the difference is in how they deliver it. And lasers obviously clearly a lot more powerful, but it has a very short duty cycle. So it takes the physician a long time to cover that particular area. Whereas LED is unattended therapy. They can take it home with them. They can't do that with a laser. So the one doesn't eliminate the other. They both really can work well together. So if you have a recalcitrant case, that would be a time to use a laser when they come into the clinic and use this as part of their continuing care. That's why it was designed like that. They both work in the same wavelengths or color. They both pulse light at different frequencies. There's reasons to do that. So they're similar in terms of what they do, but a little different in how they deliver it.
Very cool. So in other words, you can actually have the patient come to the office and pick this up, or actually physically mail these to the patient and then do a Zoom conference with them to instruct them. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And you do the Zoom conference or the telephone consult to determine what their severity is and enroll them into the program. They never need to come into the office. This is where we're going. This is neuropathy 6 months from now, but we're just seeing it now, and it started because of this pandemic.
What an amazing thing. Plus the simple fact that we did a video last week, last week actually, a week and a half ago actually, is on amazingly getting lists and information on individuals who might have done an inquiry on neuropathy in a geographic area. So imagine being able to send out your promotional piece, and the right promotional piece specifically to the right person at the right time with the right treatment, and to be able to create a relationship. But I fell in love with these, and these also too, when Dr. Kaplan saw these and myself, and then we looked at it, we said, this is the coolest looking thing going, because to me, the sizzle is just as important as the steak. And if I'm giving you money as a patient, I have to feel it's every bit worth it and more. And I think that's one of the greatest things about what you do. Now, can you talk a little bit, Patrick, about how you hold the doctor's hand? And this is one of the things I was super impressed about, was your commitment to our family of doctors that had questions, in other words, that were curious about, like, had this type of presentation. And I know you're not a doctor and you never ever represented yourself as one. And even though you have so much more knowledge in this area than probably 99% of doctors, but your approach with regards to holding their hand in terms of educating our family of doctors and more with respect to having them overcome objections and really, really make that connection between the patient and the product. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, that's critical that we do that. Education is knowledge, and knowledge is power. And if you have a firm understanding of what you do, then you're more confident. Isn't that true, Perry? You can, if you understand clearly what it is that you're doing, you can speak with authority, you can speak with confidence, and you can project that to the patient. If you speak and you don't really understand what you're talking about, the patient picks that up. They don't have a trust in you. They don't believe that you could actually do this. So what we try to do is say, you need to make the phone ring. So how does that happen? How do you enroll the patients into the program? How do you test them? What care plan do you offer? What different components do you suggest that patients use? That's what we bring to the party. Not just, here's a device, go figure it out.
And
your part is the marketing part.
You've done some
every
one
client
of the
of ours,
things
correct?
you've done is you've actually come to a number of our boot camps. You've actually gotten a plane, came across the country, and you actually presented at some of our trainings as well. Can you explain a little bit about how you did that?
Oh, you invited me and I showed up? That's what happened. No, we had a good working relationship for that first meeting in San Francisco when it was clear that you knew that we knew what we were doing. And so all we had to do was expand upon that. We had everything, but what you bring to the party is the marketing side. That's what we don't understand, because that's not our business. But if I can give you the how to use it and the device and the tools to use it with, then you come from a position of strength. So that's why I'm working with you.
It really is a beautiful dynamic. What I want to do is, for all the doctors, and nobody's left. All you guys have hung out, and I want to make this special for you, and Dr. Kaplan wants to make this special for you. And we're going to bring Dr. Kaplan back into.
Can I say something for a second?
Yeah, 100%.
We're dealing with about, I don't know how many different clinics that belong to the Dissidents of America. And some of them are doing phenomenal work. They've taken it on board. They said, this obviously works. I met John Zuliak. He was probably one of the first I met outside. I didn't even know who Dr. Kaplan was at that point. But there's several other docs that may or may not be on this call that have done really, really well with this. And they call us for information. What happens if this? What happens when you have a patient presents like this? Okay, so we have experience in that area, so we'll share that information.
It's such a vast market. The market is not going away. As a matter of fact, it's bigger now than it's ever been, and it's about to get bigger. So the question is, doctor, do you have the right technology? Do you have the right packaging? Do you have the right presentation? Do you have the right communication skills? And do you have the right commitment? And if you have that, I know as a skeptical patient, you may be the best kept secret in your market, because you may be, doctor, the one that can help me avoid Cymbalta, help me get off Neurontin, help me get off Lyrica. And these are drugs that are damaging livers every single day. You know it, and so much more. And these are the patients that become so emotional. I mean, these are the patients that have been everywhere else. And here you are, doctors, because you came to a Zoom conference on a Thursday night. Holy cow. Nothing by chance, right? Not by coincidence. You were here for a reason. So what we want to do is this. I want to show you some cool things that we want to share with you for showing up here tonight. And then we're going to kick it back to Dr. Kaplan to take it home. But what I want to do here is I actually want to show you, if I can. Let's see. I don't know. Can you even see that? I don't know if you can even see it. Oh. Can you see it? No. Let me see if I can bring it in. Holy cow. There it is. All right. So let's do this. What I want to do is I want to bring in real quick. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So what I'd like to do is this, first and foremost. All right. Let's have some fun with this here tonight. All right. You guys showed up. You could have done a lot of things on a Thursday night. You could have watched Cheers. Is Cheers still on Thursday night? Seinfeld? Oh no, now I'm showing my age. That's a little old. But the reality is this. Empowering you with content, training, tools at arm's length begins right here. It begins right now. What we want you to do is we want you to go to this website. It's nerveassociation.org. If you go there and you become a member tonight, you're going to have the coolest certificate sent to you. And this certificate actually is something that you need to include in every patient package. You need to put it on your walls. You need to send it out to all your patients and let them know that you're part of the largest group dedicated to the treatment of peripheral neuropathy as a non-invasive physician. And that's a beautiful thing. This certificate is really cool because it's actually the president-elect of the Nerve Association coming in, the new president, Dr. Michael Smith. And if that name sounds familiar, you'll know that a couple of weeks ago, actually the week before last, actually, Dr. Michael Smith, one of the largest clinics in the country, one of the best neuropathy doctors on the planet, actually shared how he was taking care of all the first responders, and he gave a great presentation. And there's more to the story. For doctors here that actually become members of the nerveassociation.org, what we're going to do, never done before, you could search far and wide, you're never going to find this on the internet. What we're going to do is we're going to send you guys a private link. And what Dr. Michael Smith did, one of the top neuropathy doctors in the country, president-elect of the INA, International Neuropathy Association, is he actually did a full-bore training. And it was done actually at a 5-star event. It was known as Master Class. It was done at Trump National in South Florida. And what he did was he went over, he brought all his tools, And he went over exactly what to do, how to do, why to do. He did an incredible, this was almost an hour-long presentation, and we had it professionally filmed. And it was remarkable because everybody in the room, and that's only one side of the room, started whipping out their cell phones and started taking pictures of this. And we were lucky because we actually had it professionally done and professionally edited. And it was like so incredibly cool. And what he did was he went into such detail as to how to evaluate neuropathy patients correctly. And it was just the coolest thing going. He's one of the greatest guys on the planet, one of the greatest doctors. And he's a giver. I mean, this guy, he's got the biggest sign I've ever seen by any chiropractor in the country. He's got 4 clinics. He's in Panama City, Florida. And he came down to share his love, his commitment, his knowledge, his passion, and his dedication to you doctors to help you treat more neuropathy patients. Well, guess what? If you join the Nerve Association tonight, we're going to send you a private link to this training. And in addition to that, it includes the 250-page manual that you can download immediately. And it's got a whole bunch of forms and tools and research studies and rhyme and reason. I mean, this is the gift that keeps giving. So if you join here tonight, and oh, by the way, if you're curious what it costs to join the Nerve Association, it costs, you ready? I hope you're sitting down for this one. You ready? For $179, you can get all of this. And I think you're sitting there and saying, wait a minute, hold the presses. Did you just say $179? Yes. Obviously, this is not about the money. This is obviously about helping you doctors step up to the plate, to have the coolest certificate going, personalized for you, get the NeuroLight video, get a direct link. And for the first 15 doctors that join, you're going to get all of this and so much more. But there is one more bonus before we kick it back to Dr. K, and that is this. So we wanted to do something special for our family of doctors. And that's why when you start to look and go, gee, how does Dr. Kaplan know all these doctors on this video conference? Well, the reason why is because they're part of our family. They're Dissenters of America doctors. They're guys like Dr. John Ziliak and Dr. Scott Banks and Dr. Brandon Manson and Dr. Dan Weymouth and Dr. Daryl Swolensky. I mean, you go through that list. This is family here. So we wanted to do something always for our family of doctors as a special treat, as a special gift here tonight. Never shown before, never done before. And if you're a concierge coaches doctor, Dissenters of America doctor, NeuroMed or NeuroDoc, neuropathy centers, you don't even have to email us. We have your email. And what you're going to receive tomorrow is something amazing. What you're going to receive is a brand new commercial, actually what it is an amazing video that you could send out to every one of your patients. It explains the technology of your office. In other words, it takes one of the treatment tools in the triad, and it explains exactly what it is, how it works, why it works. And we made this as our gift to you. And what it does is it breaks it down. And if you show a patient this video, I promise you, before they even show up, and you can automatically throw it on your neuropathy website, I guarantee your conversion rate, I can guarantee your close rate will go up. It's our gift to you doctors. Again, the gift that keeps giving, and so much more. If you're not part of the family, well, guess what? You could still come and you could still train live, nothing to sign, no pressure, no obligation, no contracts, nothing. Sit with some of the most entrepreneurial doctors in the country on May 30th at the Cairo event. Very few seats remain. So cool to be able to see you, Dr. George, there. Smart move, grabbing that. That was cool. And you'll learn how to communicate better, how to market better, how to bridge better, and how to really bring your A game in the brand new, what we call new normal. And at the end of the day, if you are obviously built for the long haul, as our doctors are, then guess what? Life is good. So it's an honor. Let me kick it back to Dr. Kaplan to take it home tonight.
You know, it's not about taking it home, Perry. You've been really, listening to you is always so exciting, and I don't think there's a better host. I think Johnny Carson would have taken lessons from you. And Patrick, you were phenomenal tonight, and I sit here, doctors, you know, as a chiropractor, and, you know, I sit here and, you know, I have guys that I know. Eli, I know you forever. And, you know, when I said to my son who's here tonight, when I talked about chiropractic, I said, you know what? I love chiropractic, but it's not the easiest business. But you know what? I've come to learn something. You only work for one person as a chiropractor, yourself. Listen to what I'm saying. You only work for one person, yourself. Here's a chance to improve your practice, to move into an area. Will Smith said, why do you rob banks? And he said, that's where the money is. What I'm saying is so many chiropractors have moved to PI practices. Why? So they can deal with it. I just dealt with one of my classmates, actually one of my roommates, and he said, I'm so tired of chiropractic. Eli, you know who he is. His initials are BS. And he's in, you know where he is, Eli. You know what I'm talking about. I used to call him Arnold. And he said, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with these attorneys. But you know what? The beautiful thing about with my son and Perry, we don't deal with attorneys. We deal with people. You know, I say it every time at every boot camp, at every event, that the brand is bigger than the product. And we work on building the brand. Imagine that you can do neuropathy now. And as I said, what is one case worth for you? Kara, I see you're on the line tonight. We have a woman who does Facebook for us. She's phenomenal. Okay? Invest a little money. Let's do some Facebook marketing, doctors that are my clients. Those that want to be my clients, come to the event. And you know what? Learn what you've never learned before. It'll be one day that'll change your life. Sonny, I see you there with your orange or red shirt, okay, from North Carolina. I mean, and I'm telling you, you come to the event, it will change your life. Imagine if one day can make a difference. But you know what? If one day can make a difference, one disc can make a difference, one neuropathy can make a difference, one Thursday Night Live can make a difference. Listen, you don't have to agree with everything we've said tonight. But you know what? Even a clock that doesn't work is right twice a day. I picked up nuggets tonight from Dr. Bard. I picked up nuggets tonight from you, Patrick. I picked up some nuggets tonight from Michael Smith. And the fact that he's giving you that video, are you kidding, guys? We're the gift that keeps on giving in a profession that's in a decline, not an incline. I mean, if you look at the chiropractic profession, we're like the stock market. We're up one day, we're down one day. We're up one day, we're down one day. I mean, it's unbelievable, the business that we're in. Yet, during this, I get a call from my medical doctor. My medical doctor says, oh, I had 20 patients on the books today and 10 came in. But you know what? I said, what? He said, but those 10 paid me. Cash at the door. And see, that's what we do with neuropathy. And that's what we do with decompression. And if you want to take your practice to the next level, if you want to be the best, if you want to be the best that you can be, I'm going to tell you, come to the event. Am I selling the event? Most definitely. Why? Because I sell chiropractic. Anyone who knows me knows this is my life. This is what I do. This is what I love. You know, Perry talked about a video that he's going to give out on the matrix to our guys. And we have a guy on the phone, Dr. Swalinski. He has 6 matrices. 6. Are you kidding me? But you know what? And he's in Henderson, Nevada. What do you have in Henderson, Nevada? 2 things, gambling and heat. That's what you have, and he's killing it. So congratulations. So what I'm saying to you doctors tonight is when you go home tonight, take a look in the mirror. Because the mirror never lies. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And ask the mirror, am I doing the best I can? Am I being offensive or defensive? If you don't bring neuropathy into your practice today, you're missing something. The Cairo event, unbelievable. And it used to be $500. I think Perry's doing a special this month. I think it's like $100. Why? Because we don't give anything away for nothing. Because something for nothing is worth nothing. And if you won't spend $100 to come visit me, then you know what? You can go funk yourself because you know what? I don't care. I don't need your money. Because if I need money, I can always borrow it from Eli. Thanks, Eli. I appreciate that loan opportunity. The point that I'm saying to you, doctors, is this is a great chance to make a difference. And I have clients that have been to, Dan, how many chiro events have you been to? Scott, how many have you been to? My doctors know that Perry and I are the gift that keep on giving, that we want chiropractic to take the lead, that we understand that we work with the best of people. Kara does twice the work at half the price of any other person in the United States, and that's why we're loyal to her. That's why we're exclusive to her. That's why we love her, you know. And when people say, what does she know about Facebook? Her husband's a chiropractor. The point is, chiropractic doctors, this is your chance. You have one opportunity in life. Right now is your chance to say, are you going to be a victor or are you going to be a victim? There are people in life that say, you know, why? Why me? And I'm saying, why not you? This is your chance to make a difference. So am I selling the event? Without a doubt. Why not? Now, hold on. Perry didn't tell you something about the International Neuropathy Association, the INA. 100% of any money raised is tax deductible, and we don't make any money from it. It goes into research. It goes into the research that we want to do from Dr. Noble Lewis, from Dr. Baxter, from Dr. Carnegie, from Dr. Burke, from Dr. Miranda. Research that we're going to provide for you. So it's a nonprofit. There's no money in the INA. What do you get all? And he's giving you a manual. What do you say, Perry? 250 pages, and he's giving you videos. He's giving you this. This is because we as a profession have to understand. One of the great lines I always used is chiropractors have the ability to circle the wagons, and then we shoot it ourselves. Well, doctors, I'm asking you for Thursday Night Lives. Let's circle the wagons. Let's come together as a profession, and let's start bringing out what we do to the patients. I'm Dr. Eric Kaplan saying, I love chiropractic. I love my children. I love you, Perry Bard. I love you, what we do, and the president does too. Let's make chiropractic great again. The world will come back, but will you be in a position to bring it back? And that's what I want from you. So I'm going to take this opportunity to say, good night. My love is with you, Perry. Please take over.
What a treat. And so just to recap, just a few simple things here. If we go back just for fun, all right, because I saw like a lot of hands popping up, and I'm getting texting and very cool. Let me see if I can even do this. Oh, let me see here. Oh, all right. Can I bring it back? I don't even know if I can bring it back. I don't think I can bring it back. Well, guess what? It's okay. Go to two things. All you need to do is simple. Number one, if you want the 250-page booklet, download completely. The only ones that were able to get their hands on this booklet were doctors in attendance at the only national peripheral neuropathy certification program held only one time ever at a university. If you want your hands on that, then go to nervassociation.org. In addition to that, Patrick will be sending out a video. In other words, if you hit us up at newpatientnow@aol.com, we'll send you the link of the video that I talked about that Patrick actually created just for this as well. In addition to that, our special gift is never before done ever, and we wanted to make Thursday Night Live so incredible for you guys, is the actual Michael Smith, Dr. Michael Smith's incredible evaluation, A to Z, comprehensive. If you can find a better evaluation, I would love to see it. I don't believe it exists. And after you watch this video, you'll see why. If you're one of the first 15 doctors to go to nervassociation.org and to get that cool certificate, which is also personalized for you, frame it, put it on your walls, include it in every new patient package, send it out to all your patients and more. And then the last gift to our family of doctors, as you know, the best doctors on the planet, Disc Centers of America, concierge coaches, doctors, neuropathy treatment centers, all under the same umbrella. This is our family. Tomorrow, there will be something very cool in your inbox. You don't have to lift a finger. You're going to be blown away by this video. It is just your mandible's going to drop when you see this video. All the heavy lifting's been done. It's great. And if you're not part of the family yet, my main suggestion is go to www.thecheiroevent.com. Do everything and anything you possibly can to try to secure a seat for the May 30th training. Palm Beach County, Florida, 5-star location, the most delicious gourmet lunch. You get to hang out with some of the most entrepreneurial doctors in the world, on the planet, who love chiropractic, who have a heightened commitment to excellence, who know that this is an opportunity in the new normal to be able to raise their game, to be able to bring their A game, to come away better, and to make this a game changer and a life changer for their patients. And the best part of it all, you get to hang out with Dr. Kaplan. And if you do, trust me, your mind will be blown, because he's unedited, uncut. Really, he is just the end all be all, as you will see. Nobody brings more to the table, and you will come away completely empowered. There's nothing to sign. There's no obligation. There's no pressure. Just hang out. It's the only training we ever do where we allow our family of doctors to hang out with people that are not part of our family yet. And we get a chance to teach and share and give and show, and you guys get a chance to do. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here tonight. If you dig this and you want more, we don't have any more Thursday Night Live scheduled, but if you like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Send us an email at newpatientnow@aol.com. Go to www.thecheiroevent.com. We hope to see you May 30th. What a blast. What a lot of fun. We hope to see you then. Thanks for sharing tonight. Thanks for hanging tonight.